Yesterday, Trump also posted, Chicago is the worst and most dangerous city in the world by far. Worst and most dangerous? 2 words. You. You know what? 2 other words. Daytona Beach. Trump slandered on. Chicago is the murder capital of the world. Fun fact, no. According to the FBI, 22 major cities have higher rates of murder than Chicago, one of them being Birmingham, Alabama, which explains their highway signs. Welcome to Birmingham. Ah!
US President Donald Trump is threatening to send immigration officers and the National Guard to Chicago. Yesterday on Truth, the president posted this AI-created Apocalypse Now themed image of himself in front of the Chicago skyline. But it is a storyline, a central part of it. Our US analyst Michael Ware joins us live for all of this now. Good to see you this morning, Michael. So Trump, he's downplayed the post this morning. He said, we're not going to war. We're just going to clean up the city. The governor doesn't like it, no surprises there, he's a Democrat, but how much support does this policy from Washington actually have?
Well, I guess it depends on who you ask. Obviously, this is one of the key tenets of the MAGA base and a lot of conservatives, which is border security and crackdowns on illegal immigrants, although that is actually having real effect. And we're starting to feel it pinch with the economy because a lot of the people who are being rounded up are day labourers at America's version of Bunnings, landscapers who do everyone's gardens, healthcare workers. As the mayor of Boston said, they're not arresting criminals, they're arresting nannies. So this is starting to make itself very real to people. So Democrats obviously are against this, and it's mainly Democrat politicians who have declared their capitals and their major cities as sanctuary cities. And that's very much who President Trump is at war with these sanctuary cities where immigrants are not being rounded up by local law enforcement. Yet it's a strange situation because we see this social media rampage from the president, but that does have implications here amongst the American population as the governor of Illinois says it feels like the president is declaring war on American cities. He said, this isn't a joke. He says that this is not normal, but we won't be intimidated by a wannabe president. So how much people support this? People support the removal of violent immigrants, but not so many people are supporting, in the polls at least, these kind of large-scale raids that we're seeing in Boston this weekend, and it looks like we're going to see in Chicago.
Yeah. On this post, though, don't people know it's just a wind-up? Like, it's clearly an AI image.
Of course it's a wind-up. And on one level it is quite funny, but in this environment, it's also chillingly real. Now, certainly the president isn't doing an apocalypse now beach invasion with the 1st Cavalry Division, but it does strike at the uncertainty that so many people are feeling. I mean, look what's happened in DC. Yes, crime is down and there's been a roundup of illegal guns, which is something that the pro-gun MAGA base might have a bit of a problem with. But, for example, in DC, these federal crimes that ICE and others are bringing to the grand juries in the Capitol are not meeting the grand jury's really low threshold for a prosecutable case. As they often say, a good prosecutor could get an indictment against a ham sandwich in a grand jury. Well, the people of DC are not are in some ways making a protest in the grand jury room. So that just shows you the kind of frictions that are at play now. And a wind-up like this really does heat up the political environment and does make a lot of people scared. Kids aren't going to school. Kids are being ripped off the streets on their way to volleyball, and workers aren't showing up to work out of fear.
Well, all right. Michael Ware with the latest from the United States this morning. Thank you, Michael. We'll chat to you next week.